Good day getting a Tesla in the shop. Does this shop make my Tesla look big? Today's the day the Tesla, off-road Tesla gets a rear bumper and not this plastic one. Just doing it with the old razor knife, huh? Yep. Not every day you take a utility knife to your Tesla bumper. Unsurprisingly, Tesla bumpers are pretty easy to cut apart. Yeah, it looks pretty good. But I'm stupid and loaned somebody my tubing roller and forgot about it. So making this arc will be much easier with a tubing roller. So can't work on that today. But what I can work on is increasing the departure angle by modifying this cargo tub. This is literally like, I don't even know, it's like paper thin aluminum. It's the lowest point on the back of the car, now that the bumper's modified. So I can cut it off at an angle that matches, you know, basically if you draw a line from, well, really draw a line from the tires up to here, because I can't really cut anything past this point. So draw a line from the tires to there, slice it off, and then patch a new piece of metal in it. It's aluminum, so obviously what we need is a street sign to weld in there. I got this hole chopped in here and found out that I really like Tesla's sound deadening material here because it peels off super easy. Most of this like rubberized sound deadening stuff is just a nightmare to get off. This just flakes right off of there. Thanks, Elon. I cut out this back part here, so you know, now there's just a giant hole in the trunk. You can just, you know, hang out in here. But I'm gonna cut more out because I want to. Decided to take the Tesla out for a quick rip in the woods, and it's a perfect time to talk about our sponsor for this video, eBay Motors. eBay Motors has their buyer protection program, which means that it's the only place where you can buy a car sight unseen on the internet and be guaranteed that the car you paid for is the car you get. eBay Motors also has a proprietary web feature called Fitment that guarantees that the part you buy actually fits your ride, even if your ride is a Tesla. Next time you find yourself needing some parts for your project or an entirely new project, head over to eBay Motors because they have every part for every ride. For my plan to mount the rear bumper, I need some big fat washers, and I don't have any, so I'm gonna make them the hard way. I have this giant chunk of solid stock here. I'm gonna drill a hole through it, and then I'm gonna throw it in the chop saw and just cut off slivers of metal for washers. Because sometimes, you know, you do things the hard way because you live out in the middle of nowhere. Well, these are about the sexiest washers I've ever made, and they're beefy. which is what matters. Got 8 of them, 1 for each bumper mount bolt. Bumper mount number 1, which looks sexy as hell, is all welded and still very hot. So I'm gonna put it in the chop here and cut the edges off at a nice angle, because they don't actually really add any strength, and that'll make it both prettier and easier to get the bolts in. It's beautiful. No one will ever see it once it's all done, but you get to see it now, and I get to see it now, so that's what matters. My first piece of tubing for the rear bumper here. I need to cut a little bit off of it, and it turns out that where I put the mill is an adjustable height roller slider, sawhorse for the chop saw. So I can get over here and just crank this table up until my tubing is level, and then fits perfectly. First piece of bumper tube half done here. Put it in the tubing roller, and I'd say that came out pretty much perfect. Gotta love a Harbor Freight tubing roller. Actually, I hate it. It's trash, but it does the job. The shop is chaos today because we've got 4 people in here. Will's putting the Banshee back together, and it's chaos. I think this is gonna hit the ceiling long before it's done being bent. So I'm just gonna unbolt the tubing bender and set it on the floor. My excessively beautiful bumper mounts that are no longer visible are back there, and this is the piece that's going to connect between that and the bumper beam, which will go something like there. So earlier I was complaining about too many people in the shop because it's crowded, but right now it's really convenient because I got Will holding the other end of this bumper piece, Steve-O's running the camera, Ed's inside editing, and it's just way easier because normally I just have to prop this up myself, and then Edwin would be filming it. So, there's benefits. Oh gosh darn it, I don't have my ground clamp. So, now we've got this bar mounted, time to keep going with the bumper. I have some ideas. Obviously, we've got a receiver hitch here, It's gonna go probably right about there. This is the piece that's gonna go across the middle. I did the 2 bends on the ends, 30 degrees each, and now I'm gonna put it in the roller and roll it back and forth, make a nice arc at a randomly chosen angle relative to these bends. I just looked at it and was like, that's what I want. And now these are just to help keep it aligned and to, you know, be a stop for where to stop rolling it as it goes. Beautiful. And now I'm working on this piece. This one's been a real difficult little piece because I have this bend here, and then this bend here has to be at a totally different plane. I managed to get this side bar done and matched fairly well to that side. You know, at this point, it's all just eyeballing. Does it look the same? Because there's not a lot you can measure on here for a thing with that many bends in it. But that's all done, looks good. And then I took the failed version of this bar that I screwed up, and I cut it in half and added it to these 2 mounts here, brought it up to the back side of the trailer hitch because, well, basically because I can, and because it makes it a hell of a lot stronger. And that way it uses all 4 of the original mounting points onto the body, which is probably a good plan. Tesla probably knew what they were doing there. So now I'm working on a little just reinforcement bar that'll be almost completely hidden as well. It goes in there and ties this upper mount, or this lower mount to the upper mount. I got these bumper tubes chopped off here in line with this body line here and trimmed a little bit of the body itself. And I've got some ancient conveyor belt material that I like to use for mud flaps. So I've got it kind of cut out here to fit the shape, and it looks amazing. Now I just need to make a little plate that goes on the end of these 2 tubes with a bolt hole for this. And then there's already a bolt on the inside of the fender that I can use to mount it. And then we'll have a mud flap that looks amazing and will further decrease our range because more wind resistance. The goal here is to see how bad we can make the range on a Tesla Model 3 long range. How short can its range be? Looks so much better when we can get outside and see it from a distance and from other angles. That's the downside of a tiny shop. You can't get far enough away to see it. Yeah, it looks amazing. I think it's my best bumper that I've built yet. And yeah, it's glorious. It's almost complete. The bumper's basically all there. It just has to be welded. And as you'll notice, there's a mud flap on this side, but not on this side because I ran out of mud flap material. So that's the other reason that we brought it out of the shop, because we're gonna take it up the road to my neighbor and go scrounge around in his scrap pile and find some more mud flaps.
Gotta wonder when you hop in a car with Ethan if it's a seatbelt trip or not.
Well, today you don't have an option. There is no seatbelt in the front.
Okay. Well,
we had to send him in to get him fixed.
That makes that decision pretty easy. Oh, yeah. Oh, frick, dude. That's so crazy. Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah. A little more traction and she really blasts.
Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. When you launch, it's like being on a roller coaster.
Yeah. Nothing accelerates like an electric car.
Oh, no.
I mean, a snowmobile is similar because with CVTs and like,
Yeah,
it just keeps launching. But like, yeah, nothing launches like that because it just keeps accelerating at the same rate.
Right.
Like, you know, constantly. Gotta love that giant trailer hitch just sticking out in the rear view camera. We're up here at what I refer to as the shop. It's not my shop, but it used to be the shop because I grew up learning how to build stuff here. And off in the woods, much like my place, there's just piles of stuff. This is the piles of conveyor belt material. Let's see what's under here. Good. Oh, this might be the prime candidate. Look at that. While we're at it, I'll grab another scrap. That way we have plenty for future mud flaps. Bumper's all welded up, looking pretty. I'm still no expert at TIG welding, but you know, practice makes perfect. I'm just gonna drill out all these holes one step drill size so that it fits back onto him better, because no doubt it has warped, and even when we pulled it off, it was very snug. So. 44 pounds. Okay, well, my first thought was just over 40, but I wanted it to be under 40, so I guessed under 40. It's 45 pounds. That's not bad. Time to see how she fits back on. Such a snug fit.
Not a problem.
Not one bit. This is fun crawling around the forest in the Tesla.
Stephen picked up the new tees this morning.
Oh, dude. What an adventure. These are awesome.
It's
Nice.
I haven't even dropped it in the dirt yet, so we're off to a great start.
Ooh.
We have a really sweet new design. Some new t-shirts out. Extremely limited quantity. Did a small run on these, so they'll probably be gone pretty quick, but I think it's one of our best logos yet. And then the back is even more awesome.
The first sent and bent shirt, and it is super limited, so.
Yeah, sent and bent. Because that's what we do. We send and we bend. And then we send and bend at the same time sometimes.
Speaking of that, is it time to test this departure angle?
Yes, I think so.
There she goes.
This thing is really irritating. if you push both pedals at once, it just goes into neutral.
Oh, that's a terrible feature.
Yeah. Granted, it's set to hold mode, so if you let your foot off the gas, it holds it, but like, that doesn't necessarily apply immediately, so like, yeah. Proper departure angle test, because we tested it and found the limit. And I put a good dent in my road maintenance skid plate here already. But that's what it's for. That's why we chopped off all that trunk, so that we could have a better departure angle. And I filled the ends of my tubes with sand. That's a design flaw. Maybe I'll make some little rubber plugs that'll go in there and keep the dirt out. Oh yeah.
This is legendary.
Dude, it should not be able to. You should actually go get a shot of this. From
Yeah,
outside.
I think so. If I can get out.
That's going to be a challenge. And there we have it. A beautiful tube bumper on the Tesla. Probably the world's first Tesla tube bumper with a trailer hitch. Basically the world's first Tesla tube bumper, aside from the one on the front of this. But yeah, I really love how the mud flaps came out. That I think is really the touch that sets it all off. That and these beautiful taillights, they just look awesome. I just have them sitting in here wired into a battery so we can test them out. But they also have high beam reverse light mode, so we can really see where we're going. Look at this, look at it light up the ground over here.
Jeez.
You can really see where you're going with your backup camera, which is perfect for off-roading. So that's awesome. And I'll get them actually wired in so that they work with these taillights, maybe. Although those are probably on the CAN bus, just like everything else, so we might just have to have a switch for them. We got the tow hitch, we got D-rings for safety chains and or for pulling it out of the mud, or pulling other people out of the mud. Now we can move on to even more crazy tube work for the next episode. We want to build a crazy roll cage looking roof rack exoskeleton-y thing over the whole top of this thing next. Strong, light, and very good looking. Those are all very good things. In general,
Very good departure angle with
yeah.
road maintenance sign.
Oh yeah. The road maintenance sign is really the finishing touch there. That and the mud flaps. Really, as Rich Rebuilds would say, it's everything. Oh, that's a chicken.
Boom!
Oh yeah!
We just can't make it through a day without breaking stuff.